What's up, fellow crime drama aficionados? Joshua Wild Trades here, and tonight we are talking the night of Episode 5, The Season of the Witch. Now, first off, it may help out if you actually know what The Season of the Witch is, and I actually don't. I know that it was a 2011 film that had Nicolas Cage in it and was rated like 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, but more likely I think it's a book that was written in the late 1960s about some guy dodging the Vietnam War and his adventures. So if you have any insight to that and how that book relates to this episode, I'm really interested to know. If you can help me out, please leave a comment below and post how the book, The Season of the Witch, relates to tonight's episode, and I'll reply to that and maybe discuss it in a later video in a follow-up, or at least think about it. The first really relevant action in this episode was the physical and mental transformation of Nas. We're seeing him going from being the innocent kid that we assumed in episode 1 to more of the criminal type now. The episode opens with Nas getting a little workout in prison, getting ready to defend himself, and transforming the tough guy that he's pretending to be around the other inmates. But in this episode, we're also seeing Nas having to start to repay for the protection that he's getting from Freddy, and I don't think that's too enjoyable for him. As we speculated in previous videos, the protection isn't coming free, and Freddy definitely did have his motivations for doing this. It looks like he needs Nas to help him smuggle and transport drugs in prison, so his offer was not as sincere as, it appeared it had been, that he needed an intellectual partner in prison, but he needed a business partner and really a mule for drugs. And now that Freddy has a little bit of leverage over Nas, I don't think this is going to be the last favor that Nas has to do. We're going to start seeing these things escalate as Freddy requires more and more from Nas, until probably at some point in the season he's actually going to turn on him and be the aggravator again. In order to embrace the tough guy role, Nas has a new haircut, and he's starting to stand up to the other inmates, controlling them over the television they watch, standing up to them in his words and his actions. And I think this is adding to the escalation of his actions in prison, and it's going to lead to something bad in the future. But still, probably the biggest turning point of the episode, as far as Nas is concerned, is the scene where he had the visitation with Stone and Chandra, and mentally, he was more concerned about the drug deal that was going down around him than he was with his own defense. This kid is getting caught up in the prison life so much that he's more worried about the events going around him and his standing with the other inmates than he is with his actual trial. But let's not forget about Nas's drug use either. It turns out that on the night of, he was using a little bit of ketamine. Now, I've never touched the stuff, but I looked it up on tripproject.ca, and ketamine is a dissociative anesthetic that can cause out-of-body experience and last up to 3 hours in users. It sounds like in small doses, ketamine can cause numbness of the body, while in larger doses, it can actually cause immobility to the user. So that white powder they were chopping up and snorting on the night of probably wasn't cocaine like I thought it was, but it was this ketamine, and may explain why Nas fell asleep and doesn't remember anything. So, did that contribute to him killing this girl? Shout out to the prosecutor, because she's doing a great job setting up this case. She not only talked with the coroner, and now she's going to have a witness saying that the cut on Nas's hands were due to him stabbing the girl. She also has some video of Nas sitting there with the cab with Andrea in the back, and it looks very probable that he was sitting there contemplating what he's going to do to her. Simultaneously, our boy Stone is back on the case, and we bring him back in with some good symbology. There's a nice scene where Stone gets that cat out of the prison that it's in, and really it's a symbol of him possessively taking over the case again and becoming involved with Nas. As he says though, it's a stay, not a pardon, so we still need to tell if Nas will be set free and what will happen to this cat. It's going to be really interesting to see how Stone knew that Trevor was lying, because he goes to the laundromat and he confronts this guy Trevor that had been out there in front of Andrea's house on the night with some unknown character, and he badgers him a little bit, and he gets information that the guy that was with him was Dwayne Reed. At this point in the show, we still don't know much about Dwayne Reed. We know that apparently he's some type of bad guy, that Trevor's scared of him, and when Stone goes to find him, he's in the back of some sort of shady Mexican gambling mini-market. This guy's got something bad going on. John Stone's going in for the confrontation at the end of the episode, and it looks like when it opens up next time, we're gonna see what happened in their little face-to-face, if they really got it. So where are we going from here? There's 3 distinct threads that I picked up on that this show is really going to have an interesting time going forward explaining. First off, we're up in the ante on what Nas has to do to stay protected in jail. He's been able to satiate Freddy so far, but I think that's only going to last a little bit longer, and there's going to be some task that Nas is not up to the challenge, and there will be repercussions for him. Secondly, what's up with the wormy little drug dealer that Stone interviewed in the coffee shop? It turns out that this guy had a connection to Andrea, he sold her drugs on that night, and as Stone implied, he probably owes someone money, and he had some sort of motive for causing harm to Andrea. And like we saw in the funeral scene, we saw this wormy little guy talking to Andrea's dad, who was demanding money from him. So did Andrea's dad have some sort of motive for having her hurt or even killed? Possibly so. And number 3, we have Stone's brilliant detective work going on. We have both Dwayne Reed that he picked up at the end of the episode. We're going to see if this guy actually had something to do with the murder. And then secondly, let's not forget about the private crime scene investigator that Stone brought in. There's going to be some new evidence that this guy got that we don't know about, Stone doesn't know about, maybe Nas doesn't even know about. So we got a lot of really exciting episodes coming up, and it's going to be really interesting to see how all this turns out. So, is Nas still guilty? I like to end with this question after we see what could be a series of coincidences involving other people, as well as Nas himself. And at this point, I still think, yes, Nas is guilty, he did it. We'll find out at the end. So those are my thoughts from this week's episode. I really enjoyed watching it. I'm still having a lot of fun with this series. Again, don't forget to leave a comment below if you know what the season of The Witch means, or if you just have any feedback about this episode or my video and review, and let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you. I'll see y'all next time. Bye, y'all.